Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to know about the ventricular system. Now we are coming nearly to the end of the nervous system, brain. So we are now studying the ventricular system. After end of this session, you must be able to know how many ventricles are present in the brain, what is their function, what is its part in original central nervous system, why the existence of ventricular cavities or ventricles is essential in the central nervous system in the brain. What will be happen if any tumor occurs and obstructs the ventricular system? What will be happen if any tumor or any abnormal growth occurs and stops the flow of cerebrospinal fluid in the ventricular system? What will be happen? And what is the function of the ventricular system? You must be able to know all these things. Before that, you must know the nervous system is formed from a hollow neural tube. The nervous system is formed from a hollow neural tube. This hollow neural tube has got certain dilatations. So, dilatations of the neural tube in adult brain forms as a ventricles. So, neural tubal dilatations in this neural tube is the central nervous system is formed from neural tube. So, there are certain dilatations in the neural tube. So, the dilatations in the neural tube gives rise to ventricles in the future complete developed brain. In future complete developed brain. Then how many ventricles are there? There are 4 ventricles in the brain. 4th ventricle, 3rd ventricle, 1st and 2nd. These are called lateral ventricles. So already we studied the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord from below upwards. First we studied the spinal cord. Next we studied the brainstem. Next we studied the cerebellum. Next we studied the diencephalon. Like that, white matter of the brain. Then grey matter of the brain. So we have studied in that order. Now like that also, even the 4 ventricles we are studying. First the 4th ventricle, next the 3rd ventricle, then 1st and 2nd ventricles are lateral ventricles. So we have to study from below upwards. Already I discussed with you in the previous classes when I am teaching you the brainstem, cerebellum. I discussed with you about the 4th ventricle because the 4th ventricle is present behind the brainstem and in front of the cerebellum. Brainstem composed of midbrain, pons, medulla. 4th ventricle is present behind the pons and upper part of the medulla. So brainstem comprises 3 parts: midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. So cerebellum is present behind the brainstem. Cerebellum is present in the posterior cranial fossa. Now the 4th ventricle is present in the back of the pons and upper part of the medulla oblongata. So 4th ventricle is present behind the pons and upper part of the medulla oblongata and also in front of the cerebellum. So for the 4th ventricle, posterior boundary is the cerebellum, anterior boundary is the pons and upper part of the medulla oblongata. So these 4 ventricles are connected with each other. For example, 4th ventricle is connected to the 3rd ventricle by means of canal going through the midbrain. That is duct of Sylvian. 3rd ventricle is connected with the first and second ventricles through interventricular foramen. Interventricular foramen. So first and second ventricles are also connected with each other. So a continuation, a connection is present between the fourth ventricle, third ventricle, first and second ventricle. They are not separately closed sacs. They are communicated with each other. They are nothing but bags. They are sacs. They are dilatations. So this entire four ventricles is called as ventricular system. They are nothing but dilatations of the neural tube, fourth ventricle. So fourth ventricle is present behind the pons and upper part of the medulla oblongata, in front of the cerebellum. In front of the cerebellum, it is connected to the third ventricle by means of duct of Sylvian, a canal going through the midbrain, because midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, then the third ventricle. So third ventricle is the cavity of the diencephalon. Already I teach you the diencephalon. Third ventricle is the cavity of the diencephalon. Thalamus, hypothalamus, everything will come in diencephalon. So third ventricle is the cavity of the diencephalon. Now, first and second ventricles are lateral ventricles. They are present within the cerebral hemispheres. They are present within the cerebral hemispheres. They are nothing but C-shaped cavities. They are nothing but C-shaped cavities present in both cerebral hemispheres, right and left cerebral hemispheres. So, fourth ventricle, the shape of the fourth ventricle is a tent-shaped, is a tent-like one. So, it is triangular in sagittal section and rhomboid in appearance in horizontal section. So, this is the shape of the fourth ventricle. Whereas the third ventricle is also the cavity of the diencephalon. It contains anterior wall, posterior wall, roof, floor, and lateral walls. Roof, floor, and lateral walls. So it is a cavity of the diencephalon. That's why the parts present in the diencephalon will come as a relations to the third ventricle. Whereas the first and second ventricles or lateral ventricles are C-shaped. They surround the third ventricle. They are associated with the corpus callosum, a band of white fibers. So it is a C-shaped one, enclosing the diencephalon. So it has got anterior horn, posterior horn, central part of body, and inferior horn. So the first and second ventricles are C-shaped ones surrounding the diencephalon. They have got anterior horn, they have got posterior horn, they have got inferior horn, they have got central part body. So again, you have to study what are the relations of the anterior horn, what are the relations of the central part or body, what is the relations of the posterior horn, what is the relations of the inferior horn. So among the four parts of the first and second ventricles or lateral ventricles, otherwise called as lateral ventricles. So inferior horn of the first and second ventricles is evolutionarily most developed. So this is the gross features of fourth ventricle, shape of the fourth ventricle, third ventricle, first and second ventricles in nutshell. Now, this is a hollow cavity. These are nothing but dilatations of the neural tube. These are lined by ependymal cells. So, the cells lining the central nervous system is ependymal cells. Is called ependymal cells. So, a tuft of blood vessels, for example, if it is in the fourth ventricle, it is from cerebellar arteries. If it is from the diencephalon, it is from choroid arteries. If it is in the first and second ventricles, it is from anterior cerebral arteries, branch of the anterior cerebral arteries. So these form a tuft of capillaries surrounded by pyometer surrounded by a double layered pyometer forms the which forms the talaconoida. In the double folds of the talaconoida, blood vessels are there. They are forming the wide plexus. So, which is important in secretion of cerebrospinal fluid. Which is important in secretion of cerebrospinal fluid. So, the ventricular system contains a fluid that is cerebrospinal fluid. To have the continuous flow of cerebrospinal fluid in the ventricular system and also up to the tip of the spinal cord, up to the tip of the spinal cord. So, a continuity is there because the cerebrospinal fluid drainage of the entire central nervous system must be there, and also its entrance into the blood through the subarachnoid cisternae is also there. So, this continuous flow of cerebrospinal fluid and continuous absorption of the cerebrospinal fluid and so many nutritive materials that is responsible for the brain goes through the cerebrospinal fluid. It is nothing but there is no lymph in the central nervous system. So, it is nothing but a lymph for the central nervous system, cerebrospinal fluid. So, these ventricular system, continuity of the ventricular system plays an important role in the circulation of the cerebrospinal fluid. If any abnormality or abnormal growth comes and obstructs the flow of cerebrospinal fluid, a large amount of cerebrospinal fluid will accumulate without proper drainage or without proper absorption and leads to enlargement of this brain that is called hydrocephalus. So, it can cause obstruction of flow. At the same time, more important vital structures are present in surrounding the ventricular system. So, their obstruction, pressure effects will also cause other signs and symptoms because of the abnormal growth in the ventricular system. So, the ventricular system, abnormal growths in the ventricular system can cause signs and symptoms, pathology or disease manifestations due to obstruction of the flow of the cerebrospinal fluid. At the same time, an abnormal growth can press the important vital centers present in the central nervous system. So, they can also cause such effects. All are collectively we must help. In such conditions, by knowing the ventricular system properly, you can assess the ventricular system patency by means of investigations. They are computerized tomography, CT scan, MR, magnetic resonance imaging, or by injecting certain dyes or certain gases, for example, oxygen into the ventricular system and doing X-ray examination. So, you can see the picture of the ventricular system, how it is present, whether it is normal or is there any abnormality. By means of all these investigations, CT scan, MR, magnetic resonance imaging method, and ventriculography by means of injecting air or oxygen or a dye into the ventricular cavities, especially in both lateral ventricles. So, you can study the ventricular system when you become a full qualified doctor by means of all these investigations, whether it is normal or not. So, further, because of all these purposes, you must be able to know the ventricular system very well. Then only you can assess the central nervous system manifestations and brain manifestations. So, this is the importance of the ventricular system. This is the reason why you must know very well regarding the ventricular system. There are 4 ventricles. 4th ventricle, 3rd ventricle, 1st and 2nd. 4th ventricle is present behind the pons and upper part of the medulla and in front of the cerebellum. 3rd ventricle is the cavity of the diencephalon. 1st and 2nd ventricles are lateral ventricles, both present in the cerebral hemispheres, right cerebral hemisphere and left cerebral hemisphere. 4th ventricle is nothing but a tent-shaped one. It is triangular in sagittal section and rhomboid, diamond-shaped in horizontal section. Third ventricle is nothing but a bag-like cavity of the diencephalon. First and second ventricles are lateral ventricles, are C-shaped, enveloping the diencephalon. So this is the actual position of the ventricular system and the importance of the clinical anatomy. In not that we are going into the further into the chapter. This is the just a pre-lecture which is going to be present in your studies in the class, in the present hour, and also what you have to study, what is the purpose of your study of ventricular system, so as a medical student. Okay? Ventricular system is a set of 4 interconnected cavities. They are ventricles or lumen in the brain. They are nothing but dilatations of the neural tube. Within each ventricle, choroid plexus is present, which produces cerebrospinal fluid. So, tela choroida is nothing but a double-folded pyometer. In between the double-folded pyometer, blood vessels are there. They form a tuft of capillaries that is called choroid plexus. So, they must be there. It produces cerebrospinal fluid. It produces cerebrospinal fluid. Now, ventricular system of the brain, lateral view. This is the anterior half. This is the central part. This is the posterior half. This is the inferior half. This is the third ventricle. This is the cavity of the diencephalon. This is the cavity of the diencephalon. This is the lateral ventricle. It may be right lateral ventricle or left lateral ventricle. So, 2 ventricles are there. So, this is the parts of the ventricle. Which ventricle? First and second ventricle. The shape of the first and second ventricle is like this. Now, this is the lateral ventricle. This is connected to the third ventricle by means of interventricular foramina. This is connected by means of interventricular foramina. So, the lateral ventricles are connected to the third ventricle by means of interventricular foramina. This is the third ventricle, a bag-like one. The third ventricle is connected by means of cerebral aqueduct or duct of Sylvian present in the midbrain. This is the fourth ventricle. So, this is triangular in sagittal section. If you see it in horizontal direction, it is rhomboid, and the fourth ventricle is connected through the medulla oblongata by central canal that goes into the spinal cord, central canal of the spinal cord. So, by observing this diagram, you see the ventricular system is not a closed sac. It is communicated with each other. First and second ventricles are connected with the third ventricle, and third ventricle is connected with the fourth ventricle through the cerebral aqueduct present in the midbrain. Fourth ventricle is connected to the spinal canal, that is central canal of the spinal cord. Now, the first and second ventricles are lateral ventricles, are C-shaped one. This is the cavity of the diencephalon, third ventricle. So, these are parts of the diencephalon is there. So, these C-shaped lateral ventricles are encroaching the diencephalon. This is the region of the diencephalon. This is the cavity of the diencephalon, is the third ventricle. Now, this C-shaped one of the first and second ventricle has got anterior horn extending into the frontal lobe, a few centimeters behind the frontal lobe, 5 to 6 centimeters. This is the central part or body of the lateral ventricle. This is the posterior horn extending into the occipital lobe. This is the inferior horn extending into the temporal lobe. Because the cerebrum, right half of the cerebrum, left half of the cerebrum, each cerebrum is divided into frontal lobe front, parietal lobe center, occipital lobe behind, temporal lobe inferiorly. So, there are 4 lobes in the cerebral hemisphere. So, anteriorly frontal lobe, central part is parietal lobe, posteriorly is posterior lobe, and inferiorly is the temporal lobe. So, this lateral ventricle extends in all parts of the cerebrum, all lobes of the cerebrum, all parts of the cerebrum, that is all lobes of the cerebrum. So, this anterior horn is present in the frontal lobe, central part of the lateral ventricle is present in the parietal lobe, and posterior horn of the C-shaped lateral ventricle is present in the posterior lobe, and it is present in the inferior horn is present in the temporal lobe. Inferior horn is present in the temporal lobe. So this is the diagram. You have to teach it. It's a very easy diagram. It's a line diagram. You can cover the lateral ventricle diagram, third ventricle diagram, and fourth ventricle diagram. So it is a beautiful diagram that can be easily practiced by you. So if any question of ventricular system is given, you can write. Ventricles are lined by ependyma which form choroid plexus. Embryologically, ventricle system is derived from neural tube. Already I told you, ventricular system is derived from neural tube. Right and left lateral ventricles, third ventricle, and fourth ventricle. There are 4 ventricles. I already told you. I have shown you in the diagram also. This is the diagram. First ventricle, second ventricle, third ventricle, fourth ventricle. So this interventricular foramina connects the first and second ventricle with the third ventricle with the fourth ventricle through the cerebral aqueduct present in the midbrain, and fourth ventricle is connected below with the central canal of the spinal cord. Because if you study the fourth ventricle, the superior angle is the cerebral aqueduct present in the midbrain. That is called ductus silvia. Inferior angle is the central canal. So this is a tent-like process extending into the white matter of the cerebellum. This is the floor of the fourth ventricle. So I have already told you simply the fourth ventricle. So this fourth ventricle contains angles, recess, tela choroida, and choroid plexus and foramina. So this is the superior angle, this is the inferior angle, this is the posterior one extending into the white matter of the cerebellum. This is the floor of the fourth ventricle forming the posterior aspect of the pons and upper part of the medulla oblongata. So by seeing the diagram, you can write the notes in your examination. How I am teaching you, how I am telling you, you must follow it. If you write the fourth ventricle boundaries, superior angle, that is cerebral aqueduct, inferior angle, central canal, a tent-like process extending to the white matter of the cerebrum. So this is floor is formed by the posterior part of the pons and upper part of the medulla oblongata. So this is so simple in writing your diagram and also the notes in theory examination by studying this diagram and following my lecture. How I am telling theory by seeing the diagram, how I am seeing the. So you must know it. You must show some interest. So that is the method. Ventricles are lined by ependyma which form choroid plexus. So ventricles are lined by ependyma. Embryologically, ventricle system is derived from neural tube. Already I told you. Right and left lateral ventricles, third ventricle, and fourth ventricle, because there are 4 ventricles. They are nothing but dilatations of the neural tube. Now this is the diagram. This is the thalamus. This is a third ventricle. This is one thalamus. This is another thalamus. So right thalamus and left thalamus. In between these two, the third ventricle is nothing but a slit-like cavity. The third ventricle is nothing but a slit-like cavity. So this is the lateral ventricle. This is the lateral ventricle. This is the third ventricle. So this is the third ventricle. Now this is a choroid plexus. This is choroid plexus. Now this is the corpus callosum. So this is a diagram showing the third ventricle, first ventricle, second ventricle. This is a corpus callosum. So in this you are not seeing the fourth ventricle. So this is the corpus callosum. This is corpus callosum. This is corpus callosum. Now this is a diagram, 2 views of the ventricles which are filled with cerebrospinal fluid. So you see, this is the third ventricle. This is a slit-like cavity, third ventricle. This is the first ventricle. This is the second ventricle. A septum pellucidum extending from the corpus callosum to the base, separating the first ventricle and second ventricle. So what things separate the first and second ventricle? A septum pellucidum, a substance, a nervous substance, separates the first and second ventricles. They are extending from the base of the corpus callosum, extending from the base of the corpus callosum. This is the base of the corpus callosum. So they are extending from the septum pellucidum, extending from the base of the corpus callosum, separates the first ventricle and second ventricle, right ventricle and left ventricle. This is a slit-like cavity, third ventricle, by means of ventroventricular foramina is communicated with it, and it is through the, this is the aqueduct of midbrain. This is connected to the fourth ventricle. This is one part of cerebellum, half part. This is another half of the cerebellum. So this is the right half of the cerebrum. This is the left half of the cerebrum. This is the first and second ventricles. This is the third ventricle. This is the fourth ventricle. How it is rhomboid or diamond shape. So this is aqueduct of midbrain. This is the first, second ventricle, third ventricle, and fourth ventricle. How it is connected. So how it is connected. So all four ventricles you are able to see in this diagram also. All the four ventricles you are also able to see in this diagram. So this is a actual picture how it is present. You do the section of the brain at this level in a coronal section. If you do the coronal section of the brain, you can have it like this. Lateral ventricle have halves which project into the frontal, occipital and temporal lobes. Supinchana already I show you. So anterior horn into the frontal lobe, central part into the parietal lobe, posterior horn into the occipital lobe, inferior horn into the temporal lobe. That is the retained. Lateral ventricle have halves which project into the frontal, occipital and temporal lobes. The volume of the lateral ventricles increases with age. The volume of the lateral ventricles increases with age. So you can assess the age of an individual by observing the cavity of the lateral ventricle. If they are large, the individual is an aged person. Lateral ventricles are connected to the third ventricle by foramina of Monro. Third ventricle is situated in between the right and left thalamus. Already I told you. Third ventricle is situated in between the right and left thalamus. So this is the third ventricle. This is the right thalamus. This is the left ventricle. This is the left thalamus. So third ventricle is present between the right and left thalamus. So that means when I am studying, you have to assess. So if I will say the boundaries of the third ventricle, lateral wall of the third ventricle is formed by the right thalamus and left thalamus. You have to assess like that. So this is the third ventricle is present between the two thalami. This is a cavity of the diencephalon. So that means the lateral wall of the third ventricle is formed by the thalamus. So when you are studying, when we are discussing the subject, so how we are getting the relations is the same in the anatomy. So when you study the relations of the thalamus, the lateral wall of the third ventricle is formed by the thalamus. When you study medial boundary of the thalamus is the cavity of the diencephalon. Cavity of the diencephalon is the cavity of the diencephalon. Vice versa. Rama, husband of Sita. Sita, wife of Rama. The meaning is same. Like that, you have to write theory of anatomy in your main examination. The volume of lateral ventricle increases with age. Lateral ventricles are connected to the third ventricle by foramina of Monro. Third ventricle is situated in between the right and left thalamus. The same thing I mentioned. Now this is the thalamus. This is the thalamus. This is the corpus callosum. This is the fornix. This is terminal vein of choroid plexus of lateral ventricle. This is one lateral ventricle. This is another lateral ventricle. Black color is ventricle. This is red color is choroid plexus. So this is blue color is internal cerebral veins. So this is a tela choroida. Tela choroida is nothing but a fold of double layer fold of pyometer. So pyometer is the inner layer. Jura meter, first layer. Arachnoid meter, second layer. Pyometer is the third layer of the central nervous system. It is present in brain. It is present in spinal cord also. So the for double layered folded part is tela choroida. Choroid plexus is nothing but veins present in the blood vessels present in the double folded layer of pyometer. Double folded layer of pyometer. So the pyometer is covered by epithelial lining, lined by epithelium. Fourth ventricle is the last one in the system. It receives cerebrospinal fluid from the third ventricle via cerebral aqueduct. It receives cerebrospinal fluid from the third ventricle via cerebral aqueduct. From the fourth ventricle, cerebrospinal fluid drains into spinal canal, subarachnoid cisterns. Into subarachnoid cisterns. Because this topic is a little topic, because already I told you in the previous classes about the fourth ventricle, third ventricle, first and second ventricles in your previous classes. When I am teaching you cerebrum, I told you the lateral ventricles. When I am teaching you the brainstem, cerebellum, I have shown you the fourth ventricle. Like that I have explained you. Third ventricle also I have explained you. It is nothing but a repetition in a simple manner. From the fourth ventricle, CSF drains into spinal cord, subarachnoid cisterns. Now this is the original, another diagram, beautiful diagram. This is the midbrain, this is the pons, this is the medulla upper part, this is the fourth ventricle, this is the cerebellum, how the fissures are there, folia, leaf-like pattern of the cerebellum. Now this is a triangular projection, tent-like. So this is a tent-like cavity. How this cavity is a tent-like. Now this is another opening, how the cerebrospinal fluid escapes into the subarachnoid spaces, subarachnoid system. Now this is the fourth ventricle. This has got a tent-like cavity. If you draw the diagram of the tent-like cavity, it has got like this. It has got one lateral extension and another lateral extension, lateral recess, extends into the inferior cerebellar peduncle in front. So this is the dorsolateral recess, two recesses, and one dorsomedial recess. So there are 5 recesses in the fourth ventricle. This is one lateral recess. This is another lateral recess. This is dorsolateral recess, and dorsomedial recess. So these are the 5 recesses present in the fourth ventricle. Now this is the superior angle of the fourth ventricle containing cerebral aqueduct of the midbrain. This is the inferior angle of the midbrain containing the central canal of the spinal cord. Central canal of the spinal cord, because this is the superior angle. So a tent-like cavity extending into the white matter of the cerebrum. So these are the angles. Now this is the floor of the fourth ventricle formed by the posterior aspect of the pons and upper part of the medulla So 5 recesses. How many angles? This is superior angle, inferior angle, and extension to the posterior aspect, a projection, that is one thing into the white matter of the cerebrum, and floor of the fourth ventricle. Like that, you have to study the diagram and write the theory. This is the method, how you learn the subject. Clinical anatomy, hydrocephalus is an abnormal collection of cerebrospinal fluid within ventricles of brain. It is of 2 types, communicating. That means non-obstructive, because flow is there, but it is reduced. Hydrocephalus accumulates the cerebrospinal fluid in the absence of any obstruction. In the absence of any obstruction, there is no obstruction. That means production may be high. That is one cause. And another cause, whatever the cerebrospinal fluid produced, it has to be absorbed to maintain the normal amount. If absorption is defective, then also cerebrospinal fluid accumulates. So this is the explanation of non-obstructive. So non-obstructive, communicating, because non-communicating, obstructive, hydrocephalus, abnormal collection of cerebrospinal fluid with flow obstruction in ventricular system. So here there is no defect in production, there is no defect in absorption, but only obstruction is there. So abnormal collection of cerebrospinal fluid with flow obstruction in the ventricular system leads to abnormal dilatation of the ventricular system. This is the diagram of hydrocephalus. This is the diagram of hydrocephalus baby. Now cavities of the telencephalon become lateral ventricles. So cerebrum, first right cerebral hemisphere, left cerebral hemisphere. Diencephalic cavity becomes the third ventricle. Rhombencephalic cavity becomes the fourth ventricle. So telencephalon, dilencephalon, and rhombencephalon. The cavity of the mesencephalic cavity becomes the new cerebral epithelium. So these are the cavities of the talon, mesencephalon. Otherwise, this forms midway. Rhombencephalus. This is the brainstem. Diencephalon is a chapter, diencephalon. So cavities of the telencephalon, forebrain, that is lateral ventricles. So this is the cavity formation. And this is a small class because I already explained you in the ventricular system when I am telling you the brainstem, and already I explained you third ventricle where I am teaching you the diencephalon, and already I explained you the lateral ventricle, first and second ventricles in your cerebral hemisphere class. So it is a simple class. So this closes the central nervous system, brain, neuroanatomy by me. So spinal cord and everything, it has been completed by me. Thank you very much for your kind cooperation. Sushma Madam will communicate you the PowerPoint. Thank you very much for you. This is a simple class and ending class. Thank you.